Alright, thank you for joining me. I'm going to jump right into this. I'm really excited to be doing this video. I'm going to bring a little bit of science into it to try to explain what geologists see and why they see it. And it's going to be a two-part video. I'm going to get into this part of it here, the science part of it, and then I'm going to be going out in the field and we will go visit a site and we will look at it for ourselves. So, and I can't get out right now because the weather's bad, so it'll be about 4 days before I can go look at a piece close by. But what we're looking at here is called basalt columns. And the fracturing that they have here is called columnar jointing. The way it's jointed, the joints are all fractured and left with these hexagonal patterns. Geologists believe that this is basalt, intrusive basalt, that happens and forms underneath the surface. And by cooling and getting fractures in and water pours in, it forms all these patterns and stuff. Which is not correct. And the reason they think this is because you have so much volcanism mixed in with some of this stuff that they think it's all volcanic. Plus the mineral spectrometers, when they do an analysis of the minerals or elements in it, it's similar to, you know, the same stuff they find in magma, because all the magma is melted biology. So we're going to get into a little bit of this right now, and I'll show you what I've been doing. This is Devil's Postpile Monument, I think here in the States. And, yeah. Okay, I'm going to try to keep this video as short as possible, short and sweet, because of time and it takes long to upload. But they basically think this basalt is caused by the contraction by water, ice, or whatever. And it was basalt and it contracts and makes these patterns. And I will link the science behind it and some things they've done, some models they've done in a test facility, and I will show you the size of the pieces, on and on and on. So bear with me here and we'll take a look at this. And they think it's been shaped by fire and ice, which I understand why they would think that, because of all the volcanic activity around it, but it's not true. It's not how they're formed. Our Earth is actually getting more violent, okay? It's not the reverse of what they say in 5 billion years when we started out as a molten evolutionary thing in space. To put it short and sweet. So I'm going to try to keep this video short and fast as possible just because of upload time, and you guys will get the gist of it, and most of you have a brain and know how to use it. And so let's move forward with this and take a look at what they say, and I'll show you some things that shows no, it's not. I don't believe you're right about this. Like I say, you know, even if I was a geologist, I would not believe some of these theories. It's just they wouldn't meet my expectations, okay? Okay, I was just showing you Devil's Postpile here in the States. This is over in Iceland. There's lots of places over there that, you know, they have the same stuff going on. And what you have here are tendon fibrils, and you have the transition on top, and then you'd have what was above would be above this transition part. It's biological, it's not geological. So I'll show you a little bit more here, and then we'll get into some of the science where they think they've figured out what causes this. Okay, these patterns are quite fascinating, and they're all identical if you notice that. Here's more here over in Iceland. And we have a lot of it here in the States. I have quite a bit of it here close by to me. A lot of you do, and underneath the surface you don't even know where you live, and you have it. It's hidden. Okay, I have a lot of it here north of me in the state of Washington, the Columbia River Basalt Group. Here's more of it here. They think it's from lava being cooled and shrinkage cracks and forms 2 to 6 inches at a time. That's not what's happening. It's biological. I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, I'm looking at what I'm trying to find what they call pillow basalt. So let me try to find some here. Okay, I found some. What you got here is tendon fibrils down here, and then the transition part, they call this pillow basalt. It's formed underneath the oceans and stuff like that, and then I guess the water receded or whatever, but there was, you know, the oceans are from the Great Flood. So we know that much because many nations, I think there were 6 nations that even talked about the Great Flood of Noah's day. But let me show you something else here. Okay. You see this? These are tendon fibrils, and then they're in their bundles. You see these? Those are the bundles. Okay? This is biological. That does not happen underneath the surface and magma cooling and cracks getting in it and forming this. And I'll get into the science behind it in just a second, but I wanted to show you this. It's so obvious it's biological. Okay, that's why you see these bundles. You know, so in other words, the cracks all happen, water gone, formed a hexagonal pattern, and they also formed the bundles like that. Folks, that's impossible. Impossible. It's biological, okay? Okay, here's what I was trying to look for in my downloads. If you notice those bundles I was talking about, and then you look up here, this tendon structure, see this? Everything starts out as a single fiber, then it'll go to a bundle, then a bigger bundle, and works its way up into a massive bundle. And that's so it don't fall apart and just do something like that. You just go boing. You know, it's got to be in packages. The collagen fibrils, the collagen fibers, and then it gets into fiber bundles. And these are those bundles I was talking about. These are biological bundles. Okay? I mean, they're as obvious as the nose on your face. You can see them all separated into the fibrils into bundles. And these would have had the collagen wrapping around them, but it's all eroded away. And so you're left standing with the fibers and the bundles themselves. Okay? Now let's get into the science why they think that these are formed and how they think they're formed. Okay, think about this for 1 minute as well. Let's just say for kicks and giggles again that they're correct. And then it happened to contraction and water getting in and separating these into hexagonal single fibrils. Then how did they end up in bunches? Think about that for 1 minute. How did they get in bundles as well? Because it's biological. Okay? That is why. These bundles could have only happened by biology. There's no way that by cooling and contraction it also formed bundles like that. Okay? It's biology. It's tendon fibrils in their bundles, and then they go to a bigger bundle to make a bigger group. That is what's going on. There's no way that their models can prove or show that they form in bundles as well like that, okay? It's biology, folks. Let's move on. Okay, it took me a while to find some science I could find and how this columnar jointing is happening or how they think it's happening. I believe this was done in Liverpool in a lab, and it was done in, it was published in 2018, and they pretty much, oh, we figured out what causes these basalt columns now. So I started reading all this research, going down through all this. I mean, it shows the formulas, the stuff they came up with, the fracturing, how their hypothesis of water getting in, on and on and on. Okay? That's what I've been doing for a couple weeks, trying to figure out how they come to these conclusions. It gives us all the formulas, all the math, everything they're doing. And then you come down to where the modeling, fracture, widening, and fluid flow. It gives you all the formulas and everything. Minimum cooling, maximum undercooling, maximum, minimum, and then it comes down to the discussion, and then here's where I end up coming to the methods of how they did this. Okay, and what they did was they took samples of these columns, small samples, and then they ground them down into a certain size, and they shaped them like a dog bone so that they could attach a clamp at both ends and hold it while they heated it and measure the contraction or whatever. Look, just about anything you heat's going to contract. You people out there that works on cars and things like I have, you know, you get a bolt stuck in a motor, you heat up the metal around the bolt and it will contract and you can get the bolt out. Okay? I was hoping to be really impressed by this. I was hoping, man, maybe they got something here that, you know, they have something on us and we don't understand, and, you know, maybe we're wrong. But this is how, even if I was a geologist, I would not believe this. Okay? Because it's too abstract, there's too many variables, and for one thing, magma is always going to be under compression, never tension, because the weight of the viscosity of it alone. So by clamping something at both ends and then heating it up, and then watching it cool at certain temperatures to see if it fractures, I'm sorry, but I'm just gonna move on and show you. Now I want to show you what they did. They took 170 millimeter long samples by 16 millimeter in diameter, and they were cored out, and then they ended up with a certain size, 8 to 10 millimeters. And I'm going to show you. I got a couple samples. I drew them out to scale of what they ended up doing. Just hold on a minute. Give me a second here. Okay, I drew them to scale. They shaped them dog bone. Basically, what they did is they took some pieces, 170 millimeters long, and they ended up grinding it all down. They clamp it at both ends, and then they'd heat it up to like between 600 and 940 degrees Celsius. So basically, they're working with something this big. See my hand? See this pin? And then they would heat it up and cool it down, and then watch for the cracks and things like that. Let me tell you something. Anything you clamp at both ends and heat it up is going to probably fracture. Metal literally don't unless you put a lot more tension on it, because it's already been smelted off and you're working with a compound that doesn't have any impurities left in it. So it doesn't usually fracture unless you test the tensile strength and pull it apart. They're heating something up that was never heated to begin with. If you take a look at a lot of these basalt columns, if they were magma, it would be so porous, it would blow your mind. You've all seen lava and magma and how pitted it all is, and it's got pits everywhere. That's what happens. Even if you take a look at the stuff that's underneath the water, they say it's pillowed basalt and column or whatever they say, it's always pitted so bad because of the cooling process. It's phenomenal. So what they've been doing is taking something that's never been heated up, and then they heat it up, clamp it, heat it. They take something, core it, clamp it, heat it up, and then watch it for fracture. Then they come up with these theories on cooling at certain temperatures is what causes the basalt jointing. Okay? And that's what they call it. Columnar jointing. It's what causes, they believe that what they just found here causes all this. Get this out of the way. So they're saying by them doing that test on such a tiny, teeny-weeny scale, that big, and heating it up, letting it cool, and then coming up with these formulas, created all this stuff we see on Earth. Okay? Let's just say for kicks and giggles it is real. That is what happened. You would never have this form like that because, for one thing, it's under compression. It's not under tension. There's nothing holding it. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing holding it or pulling it apart. If anything, there'd be stuff on top of it pushing it down. And you'd never get these patterns. Impossible. These patterns are biological because our Earth is created out of carcasses. I know it's hard to see that and to understand that, and it sounds crazy. It sounded crazy to me too. But, you know, I'm going to call this video Seeing Through the Lies with Mudfossil Eyes. I think it was, I can't remember the girl's name on one of Roger's videos. Some lady said that, and I said, I'm going to use that for one of my videos. This is going to be a two-part video. Next, we're going to go out and I'm going to take us to some of these columns and we're going to visit and take a look at them and see how they're not porous. They're not molten magma at one time. They're biological, and a lot of it's missing. If we could dig super deep down in the earth, we'd find where it's attached to bone. But you'd have to go, I don't know how deep, a long ways. You know, academia just does not understand what they're really looking at. And they're trying to piece together a godless creation. They don't believe in a creator, God Almighty. I've already showed everybody in 3 videos that Lucifer's real, God is real, and everybody's going to find out when they draw their last breath. A lot of people have crossed over the other side and come back and seen it's real. A lot of people get into satanic worship, they get into astroplaning and things like that, and they know that Lucifer's real. They know that there's shapeshifters. They know that this stuff is true. They know that there's supernatural and things we cannot explain. There's unseen realms. People have been to them and back. And that's why we see even ETs and UFOs, because they can come out of an unseen realm of things we cannot explain in this physical realm. Jesus even said he was not of this world. He's from another realm. This is not, it's his creation, but this is not his home. This is our home. In the physical sense. Okay? So I do these videos to show people that God is real. You have a creator, and so you need to be seeking him and not just yourself and relying on yourself. That's the only thing my videos are about. to show you and to show people who are atheists or God deniers that, hey, you might be wrong, you might want to check it out. And it's your free will to say poo-poo on it. I don't want nothing to do with it. That's cool. That's your given right. You have free will. But I wouldn't. I'd be checking it out. So, I brought a little science into it. I will link that science, and you guys can go in and read all their stuff on it, and how they did it, and on and on and on. And I was hoping to be impressed, but like I said, if I was a geologist, there's no way I would believe that theory, not knowing what I see and explaining everything else. You know, they're told to say what they're told. If you don't say and breathe what we tell you to say, you'll spend your money on nothing, we'll flunk you, and you won't pass, and you won't have an education or be able to even get a job. So people have to suck it in. That's why they take people that were, you know, raised in the church, they were raised in Jesus Christ, and then they go to one of these schools and they show them all this stuff and wow and woo them with all this stuff, and then they start saying, well, maybe God's not real. Maybe man figured out science. No, 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 you're being fooled. You were on the right path the first time. So that's why I do my videos, to try to open people's eyes to the truth of a creator, and that you're here for a reason and you're going to leave for a reason, and it's all specifically designed. Okay? This is going to be a two-part video. The next video we will go out in the field and we will look at these up close and personal, and we will take a drone and we will fly around them and we will look at some of this stuff that they call fracturing, when it's not fracturing. We will look at some of the transition zones, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, the bottom line is, our Earth is created of carcasses that we just don't understand. Like this dragon here in China, Mongolia. That's a dragon's head. Come up here, you can see the crowning on this side, same pattern on that side. You'll figure it out. Eyes buried over on this side, tip of the nose down here, and his flailings. We come to North America, and you've all seen Rogers. He brought it up a million times. You got this dragon up here, and a fish that's breathing out. You guys have seen this a million times, so I'm not going to stay on that one. And then we up here in North America, you've all seen this. That's a dragon's head, and his throat, and the back right here, and his flailings. You come into here, you can see them. That's its wing, or the flailings on its back through here. These patterns don't just happen by chance, folks. Okay? See this? That's just not happening by chance of geological processes. Alright? And, you know, the scientific world is deniers. They're never going to admit to any of this. They're got so much narcissism and their own pride going on. They're never going to see this. So don't expect them to say, oh, we give up, we see it now, God's real. No, no. The Lord's turned them over to what they want to believe, and that's just what they're going to believe. But you can come up here and see this stuff for yourself. And it's laying all over the earth, okay? This stuff is all over the earth. There's something laying right here. It's all over the place. So, I'm going to leave you at that, and we'll move on. Thank you. So I hope that explains some things, and I will, like I said, I will put a link to their scientific studies and their methods, and you can look at it yourself. And a lot of you out there are real brains to get off on the math, so you can go look at the math and all this, and their ideas of how water got in and fractured, and close by rivers and oceans got in and cooled them and made them do all these patterns, which is not true. Okay? The reason they're thinking that is because they're surrounded by so much volcanism that they're thinking, well, it had to come from magma and had to do this, and also they get to take and look at what it's specifically made of. Listen, magma, lava, whatever you want to call it, it's the same thing. One's below the surface, one's above. It's melted biology. Did you hear me? It's melted in a liquid form biology. And what's happened is it's been smelted off. Okay, that's why you see it forming pockets all over and it's real rough looking and everything. It's the smelting process, okay? At certain temperatures, the scum basically melts off or gets smelted off, and what's left behind is more the pure, whatever it might be, the material. So, I hope that explains some things. I'm going to put this video up now so everybody can look at it, and then the next video, part 2, we will go out in the field. So remember what I told you about this stuff. Okay? And what I showed you. And you can go up and look yourself. They took samples, ground it down, clamped it, and this is the size of the stuff they were using. Okay? And then in their process, and then saying, well, they all had to form this. Any of you believe that? All right. God bless and have a great day. Bye-bye now.